Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a different type of video. This one is going to be angled towards beginners who want to get started fossil hunting. This video I'm going to go through tools, some of the tools that I use, as well as some tools that other people use with great success. I'll also talk a little bit about ethics, how it works legally to collect fossils, and maybe I'll throw in a few little tips and tricks along the way. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoy, and drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Oh, someday you'll find one of these. Oh, yikes. What up, YouTube?
What up, YouTube?
There you go. For beginners, what I would suggest is one of these guys. So this is a geologist's hammer. It's a very versatile tool. You have the hammer on one end and the spike on the other. This is usually a lot straighter, and in a little bit I'll tell you why mine's curved. But very, very great tool. Great for picking away at material. And then once you find a good concretion, you just got to flip it around and crack that concretion. But a beautiful, beautiful tool, very, very useful. You can pick away at the softer stuff pretty easily. And then once you get to the harder stuff or even a concretion, you can give it a good smack and get the job done. It's really good for poking around in the shale because this stuff is crumbly, but if you go with your fingers, you're going to hurt your fingers. What you would want to pair with something like that would be something like this. So this is just your standard 2.5 pound little sledgehammer. This is really going to be your problem solver when it comes to concretions. Mine's pretty beat up. Before I got other tools for reaching high places, I used to throw this thing. Because it's all metal, right? You know, like it's not gonna break. But yeah, this one, it's on the lighter side, so it makes it a little easier to pack in and out. Now, going back to the geologist's hammer and that curve on the back. So some people will use these as a duo. So what you would do is you would have this side on the rock and you would come in and tap it like that, or wallop it. But what you're getting is you're getting a hammer and a chisel in sort of one over here, and you can sort of use that other side as a chisel and pop things out. Now this one's got a bend in it, one from the force of hitting it. This is a very cheap Amazon sort of buy, so it the metal's not that great, but it is indeed metal. But with that added bit of curve, when I'm hammering, it's bending like that and actually going around whatever I'm chiseling at. And I will get some videos of me at the river actually using it. So these are good for breaking concretions, larger boulders, stuff like that, breaking up material. If you use both of these together, you get a pretty powerful combo. So with this having its handle here, I can lever with it. Makes moving material really, really easy. Use the weight and force of your big hammer to get it in there. And then you just pull on it or lever or whatever, right? But all in all, a great tool, really good combo, really, really beginner friendly. Of course, don't forget your safety glasses, because whenever you're hitting hardened steel to hardened steel, You can get sparks and stuff like that. And the rocks are always going to be popping, right? So those are two really good options. I would get one of each of those if you're just starting. Then moving along to what I use. So here's my hammer, a little bit bigger than the other one. Quite a bit heavier, almost twice the weight. But I don't mind the extra weight, and I do like the extra power that this applies. This sort of thing is what's going to break concretions like this, right? That guy is pretty good at breaking smaller concretions, but once you get into the big ones, you're going to want a little bit more oomph. So I use this guy, and you'll also find me with this guy. So this is a masonry chisel. It's got a beautiful little hand protector. You can see how splayed out that is from me hammering on it. I prefer to use the flathead chisel. Some people will use the spike. They feel they get more penetration that way. My personal, preference is this guy, because that sort of linear, like that flathead, I can get that into a crack, use this as a wedge and pry. And you can also form cracks, like you can sort of aim a crack. If you're hitting, generally you're going to know which direction the crack's going to form, and you can use the layers of the rock to your advantage. And I'll see if I can get some videos demonstrating that. But between this and this, I can drive this very deep into any rock I need to drive it into. Great tool. And between the two of these, you can drive this in really far. So you got the hand protector there to save my butt. But it just goes right in. And then I can just push on that and lever all this material out. These are my, weapons of choice. Generally, this is what you'll be seeing me use. These guys are on the more expensive side. Those guys you can get on Amazon for pretty cheap. I think that hammer's maybe 10 bucks, and that other one maybe another 10 bucks. That's 20 bucks total. This guy was like 50 bucks or something, and this one was about 15, so a little bit more money. Now another good option and tool you can bring along with you is one of these guys. This is just a small, sort of easily pack in, pack out pickaxe. It's got the clave on the back for moving material, and it's got the pick for, exploring the material. Pretty self-explanatory. I'll get some videos of this one as well. I would use this feller for moving material. So I'll start by moving material there, and if you look at top, whatever I'm doing down here is pulling material from the top too. And then before you know it, this is all, you can see it, right? Not too great for digging. Doesn't have very much weight behind it. It's still a great tool. So as far as basics go, that is really all you're going to need. Beyond that, you can go into a bit more, advanced pieces of equipment like pry bars, digging bars. I've got one of each in my car at all times, always on me, but very rarely do I use them. Only in very specific scenarios would I use, tools like that. One thing that I've added to my toolkit that I find very useful and I use almost every time are these bad boys. So these guys are pruning poles. So they all screw together. They're about 1 meter each. And there's quite a few of them, 7 of them, so 7 meters. Very useful for getting things that are up high. If you're working with like a much larger exposure, you're going to see a lot of concretions that are just out of reach. You don't necessarily need this. I prefer it. I like it. But a lot of people get by with gaffs for fishing with the spike on the tip. You can poke concretions down with that, or even a good walking stick could give a lot of people the reach that they need. Nobody needs to reach the clouds necessarily, but very useful little piece of kit. Now for the most part, I would not have all of this on me at the same time. What my kit looks like when I go out fossil hunting is I have my pole strapped to my back. I'll have these two in my backpack. I'll have this guy in my backpack as well. Generally, these ones will stay in my car. Because the basic principle with fossil hunting is you're going out looking to carry rocks home, pretty much. So you got to take that into consideration. You only really want to carry tools that you think you will absolutely need. Other than that, you're just adding weight to your backpack. And that can become a huge pain in the butt when you're on your way out, trust me. This is pretty much the kit that I go out. Anytime I go fossil hunting, these are the 4 sort of tools that I have on me. So further to that, we have this guy. This is actually a lot in one bag, but I will open it all up for you. We have a first aid kit. Fairly basic first aid kit. You got band-aids, you got, alcohol rubs, stuff like that. You get a big cut, you're good. Throw that down there. The rest of this is sort of a first aid kit for fossils, we'll call it. So, here we have duct tape. Got purple because purple is cool. So the duct tape comes into play. When you crack a concretion like this and you find you have something beautiful inside, like this for example, and you want to get it out without damaging it. When it's a split like that, this actually fits on there like that. But if you were to put it right on there, you would damage the heck out of all of these beautiful crystally bits. So what you would then do, take your tissue paper, drop that right there, attach the 2 concretions, duct tape it up. Now you're good. You can throw that in your bag, hike it out. Now let's say something broke and you didn't want it to break. That is where this lovely stuff comes in. So you got that super duper duper glue here. This one has 2 different sort of outlets. So I can pull this off and I can actually squirt the stuff, or I can put that back on, pull this up, and then I can just sort of brush it on. Sometimes you just need to brush a little tiny bit to put whatever broke back together, so that you can then take it home, have it prepped, and Bob's your uncle. So that's a very important piece of kit to have, is your 2 first aid kits. One for you, one for the fossils. But now then, that is pretty much it as far as kit goes. Although, one addition that I would suggest you make is something like this. So this guy is essentially a field guide for, West Coast fossils. And the Nanaimo Group rock formation where I live. There's bound to be literature on, the stuff in your area as well. But I would look into it and keep informed. So this guy, you can have it on you. It'll tell you what areas have what rock formations here. It goes through the different layers of rock and the time periods that they're in. It goes into identifying some fossils. Some beautiful diagrams in here. And then you go through fossil localities. Some books will actually show you where to look for fossils and what kind of fossils you'll find there. So resources like this are super important, and if you have the option, I would suggest adding something like this to your kit. It'll also talk about ethical fossil collection and things of that nature. So I should point out, in the province of British Columbia, fossils are seen as a non-renewable provincial resource. Therefore, they are technically the property of the provincial government. Fossil collectors are stewards of fossils. They are not owners of fossils, and therefore cannot buy or sell fossils sourced out of British Columbia. So that's an important thing to take into consideration. If you find something of any substantial, scientific value, it is the right thing and moral thing to do to take it to the relevant authority, being a paleontologist at a museum, a university, because in reality these things need to be studied and there's only a finite amount of them out there. So the important ones, if you find something you can't identify it, or if you do identify it and it turns out to be something that's very, very uncommon, then do the right thing and bring it to the proper authorities. In this book, it will talk about the proper and ethical way of collecting fossils. One thing to point out is it's very important to have your fossils identified, if not identify them yourself. But you should also be recording coordinates, where you found it, what layer of rock, what species, and the date and time, in the event that there is a study done in the future and you would then have resources that could aid that study. It's very important. But alright, that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Not my usual form of content. I usually do long form, like almost vlog style uploads. The main thing I like to do is just take people along for the ride. I'm essentially just strapping a GoPro to myself and going for it. And it seems some people have enjoyed that, so I'm happy I could be of service. But I did want to do a video talking about ethics and maybe some toolkits and stuff, so that there's more people. I'm sure there's more people out there that could really benefit from a hobby like this, where you get outdoors and you just do stuff. You do some wholesome stuff and it's good fun and you'll meet a lot of really cool people along the way. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and can't wait to see you guys in the next one.